Hey guys, today we're doing 11 things in Tarkov that will be useful for all new players to learn and know about when they're first getting started in the game. So let's jump into it. The first game mechanic we're going to dive into is insurance. This is a way that you can go into raids and protect your stuff, but they're not always guaranteed to come back. I know, it's not really insurance, but it's insurance. So when you try to go into a raid, say you want to go factory or customs, the second you hit next, you're going to be seeing this screen. It says prepare for escape insurance. You have your insurer, all your items, and typically you want to do select all, and this will insure everything that is on your body that can be insured. Things like meds and ammo cannot be insured, but keys, rigs, backpacks, guns, armor, everything else can be insured. And it does cost quite a bit to insure a full set of gear, just about 32,000 rubles just for a normal set. And you will expect your stuff to come back through the mail. Granted, no one takes your stuff out of the raid. So for instance, if you were to die in the raid with something that you had insured, and you die to a player-made character, and they take your stuff outside of the raid, you will lose your stuff for good. And your friend Prapor here will say, no luck, can't find your shit, I'm sorry. And however, on the other hand, you can, if you insure your stuff and say you die to a scav or a PMC just doesn't want your stuff, it will come back through the mail 24 to 36 hours with Prapor, and then 12 to 18 hours for therapist, or 12 to 24 hours for therapist. But it does cost a lot more. When your stuff does inevitably come back through the insurance, you'll get a message right in your bottom right hand corner. It'll pop up a little notification here, and you'll just click on either therapist or Prapor depending on who you insured with, and they'll have like a little paperclip showing that this is where he found your stuff. So he says you got insured, and then the day you insured your items, what location you lost your items, and then the stuff that he was actually able to find. And it'll bring up another screen where you can just drag and drop all the stuff that you lost and want to find back in the raid. However, there is only a certain amount of time that you can go back and get your insured stuff. I think it's now 3 days until your insured items will not stay here. So make sure that if you lose your items, say like on Wednesday, you make sure to check like Thursday or Friday, but you don't want to wait all the way until Sunday, then your items will not be there at all. He'll probably just say case closed, so long, and sorry. Another benefit to insuring your items is if you go into a raid and say you kill a couple players and you want, say there's like 6 M4s, you just totally kill everyone on the server, or say you have your whole backpack full and you want to take 2 guns, but you don't want to really take your gun back. If you drop your gun in the bush and take the other 2 players' weapons, your gun will still come back in the raid as long as it's still not picked up by another player. This means that if you just throw your gun outside the map or you hide it real well, you can take anyone else's stuff and your items are sure to come back. Another huge mechanic that's part of the game is the traders. This is where you'll be able to buy things to take in the raid and sell things that you got from outside of the raid. Each will be specializing in their own field, such as Prapor, who focuses mainly on Russian military items, Therapist, who focuses on meds, Fence, which is a community market for all players, Skier, which focuses on high tier attachments, Peacekeeper, which is US weaponry, and Mechanic, and he focuses mainly in high tier weaponry and attachments. So Prapor, he'll be selling all your Russian items. Therapist will sell all your meds, and once you get her high tier, you'll be able to buy weapon case or just item cases, and they'll let you expand your inventory. Fence, again, is just the community market, and if I were to sell anything in my inventory, you should see it pop up. However, the good things do disappear pretty fast. And you have Skier, who also sells high tier attachments and has armor trades, such as a Ford armor for 5 alkalil. He also does 5 gold chains for Ford armor. This is where mainly you buy your armor and high tier reflex sights. You have Peacekeeper, which again is US military items such as M4s, great attachments, vest, and your soft armor. And lastly, you have your Mechanic, which sells and deals mostly in Bitcoins and Euros. I highly recommend that if you're a new player, you try to sell to Peacekeeper first, as his loyalty levels are pretty easy to match. You don't really need to do any missions at all until you finish all Skier quests to finish Peacekeeper, and all you need is a high level and to spend money with him. So when you buy and sell from a vendor, all you have to do is just slide it, and it says deal at the top, sells it, and then this will change. I have 4.4 million cent, so you won't see like $26. However, you will have to meet this criteria at the bottom. This will be your next loyalty level. So once I reach 29, I'll be able to finally be level 4 Peacekeeper. However, when you're a new player, you do want to start with Peacekeeper. I highly recommend it. And then you want to move on to Skier, Prapper or Therapist, and then Mechanic, and then Fence doesn't have any more loyalty tiers. Another huge part of the game is weapon modding. This is where you will be able to change the way your gun looks and feels, as well as change the in-game stats, such as ergonomics and recoil. To mod, you just right click your weapon, select modding, and this screen will show a bunch of squares, and each square will show a piece that you can add to the gun. So right here, you can add stock, pistol grip, magazine, reload bolt, a dust cover for your weapon. In this specific case, I'm going to be using this one, and then I'm using a TT to add to the top of it, which already has scope on it, the iron sights for the weapon, and then the pistol grip and gas block. You can also add a silencer or a compensator depending on your choice. It's pretty simple to mod a weapon, and you can mod every single weapon in the game depending on how you want it. Just make sure that you have the necessary pieces to add it, such as for the stock you need a special adapter, and for most sights you need a special adapter as well. The thing to remember when you're modding a weapon is how exactly you want to build it, either with higher ergonomics or less recoil. So you can build a really good weapon that has almost close to no recoil but 0 ergonomics. That means it will be hard to handle and will have a lot more weapon sway. Guns with higher ergonomics will be able to easier to maneuver, and you can still build it to have less recoil, but it won't be the best build for recoil. It's a trade-off that you get to choose. I personally prefer higher ergonomic builds because they feel much better in raid. Another huge part of the game is your character's skills. To access it, you just go to the top, choose skills, and this will show all of the different skills that you can obtain in the game. A lot of them aren't developed yet. However, you will be able to level up your character's endurance, vitality, perception, and so on. Each will make your character better, such as increased stamina, decreased chance of fractures, better hearing, and just about everything else that you can add. Even if you use assault rifles more often, you'll become more adept to using them. However, in this game, if you do not play consistently, this red bar will show all the skills that you are losing because you're not playing the game. So for instance, if you miss 4 or 5 days of not playing, your skills will begin to downgrade, and this is what this red bar indicates. I haven't been playing it in maybe 4 or 5 days, so my bar has been going down a lot, which means that once I'm in the raid, I'm gonna have to start catching back up. However, if you max out a full skill, you will not be able to lose it. Most skills are pretty easy to start learning. However, it doesn't tell you exactly what you need to do for each one. So endurance, you can just build it by running a lot. strength by carrying a lot of weight and preferably jumping around a lot more. Metabolism, just by eating and drinking every single thing you see in the raid. And then things like perception, attention, and charisma just come along with playing more. Another nifty function of the game is that you can repair armor and weapons that have become broke inside the raid. So if you have a torn up P.A.C.A. or a torn up helmet, you can just right click on it, choose repair, choose your repairer, and depending on which one you choose, will repair it the best. So Prapor is the worst, but it's very cheap. Skier asks for a lot more money, but repairs it a lot better. And then there's Mechanic, which asks for the most, but repairs it the best. You usually want to go for Mechanic when repairing armor and weapons. Once you hear that sound, your weapon will show its durability again. However, it will lose some every single time you repair. So right here shows a P.A.C.A. or a soft armor that it's 33 out of 33, when typically they start off with 60. So this one's been to hell and back, but you can still fix it every single time. One thing that you want to get used to as a new player is really utilizing your security container. Most of you will start off with the alpha container, which is just a 2x2. And what the security container does is that whenever you go into a raid and die, you don't lose whatever you stored in here. So for instance, if you go into a raid and find something really good, just make sure you slap it in your security container and you will not lose it once you die or come outside the raid. So it's very nifty if you want to just go in and say, for instance, you find a lot of money, you just want to throw into your security container, so you make sure that no matter what, you make it out of there with it. This is very useful for things like bitcoins or just quick runs that you need to get in and out of. Over time, you will eventually be able to start buying bigger and better containers. You will, however, not be able to buy the Gamma container unless you buy the EOD version of the game. You will be able to buy a 2x3, and you'll be able to earn a 2x4 from doing all Prapor missions. Tarkov is the Scav Runs. This is where you can play as a character that's not your PMC, and Scav Runs allow you to go into any map and scav in later than PMCs and loot. However, you are stuck with very crappy gear and lack a safety container. However, all gear that you find in raid, you have to make sure you have room for it in your stash. So you want to make sure that you have a lot of room in your stash, otherwise you will not be able to keep that loot. And granted, it's a free life with free loot, you're only allowed to scav run every 20 minutes. One thing in Tarkov that's going to take a while for new players to learn is to differentiate AI versus PMCs in raids. When it comes to PMCs, you can usually tell by their outfits. PMCs will be wearing full military outfits, and USECs will be wearing digital camo, and bears will be wearing an olive green shirt. However, Scavs will be wearing baggy clothes, jeans, scav vests, and all around just crappy clothing. However, between Scavs and player Scavs, the only way to really tell that you've killed a player Scav or that you found the player Scav is they will have a security container slot in their inventory. Granted, you won't be able to actually have a security container as a Scav. You will see one if you scroll all the way down to the body. As to where just normal Scavs, their inventory will end at the end of their backpack. Once a new player begins to feel more familiar around the map, they may want to start buying plans. You can buy factory plans, custom plans, woods plans, and shoreline plans, and each will allow you to select your spawn point in that map. So for instance, I have a customs map in my inventory. It must be in your inventory. And if I choose customs, it will show me the map that I just bought and 2 spawn locations that I can choose from, either customs or boiler tanks. If I choose customs, it will show me all the extractions that I will have and can have. The question marks are indicating that the ones that I can have. Boiler tank shows me all these different exit locations that I can also extract at. So you just go through, make sure you select it, highlights blue, and you're good to go, and it'll spawn you in that side of the map. As a new player, you're going to want to start off with upgrading your vendor's loyalty levels. By selecting the vendor that you want to upgrade and start working towards, and choosing tasks, you can see what new tasks are available and ones that you can accept. However, once you accept the task, it is important to remember that you cannot cancel it, as some tasks may be timed. I recommend leveling up skiers and preppers missions sooner than others, though I do warn you that skier's first mission is a timed quest, so do not accept it until you already have a fort and favor laying around. This will be this helmet and this armor. Also, if you fail to do a quest, you will lose loyalty level. This is important to remember, as that may result in a loss of a whole loyalty level, and as well as doing some other people's quests may result in also losing other people's loyalty levels. For instance, most therapist quests will gain loyalty level for her, but will lose some for skier. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about is to really utilize the offline mode. Just by selecting a map and going through, you'll see this screen. This will allow you to enable offline mode, choose whether or not you want random weather and time conditions, and enable PvE. This means that scavs will spawn in your offline mode. When you do go into offline mode, with any gear that you have, no matter what, you will not lose your gear in offline mode. You can die, drop your gear, you will not lose it. This is important to remember because it does seem super scary when you load into a map and you see the screen that says that you will lose everything if you disconnect. Don't worry, you won't lose a single thing. Just make sure that you are in offline mode if you are willing to lose all your stuff. Let's see when this map loads in. You can see I can wander the map as much as I want. And this is a great way to start exploring the maps and getting an idea of where you have to go, where the extractions are, points of interest, and just all around great loot spots. However, you cannot loot in offline mode. You can find things in offline mode and throw them into your backpack, though once you leave the raid, you cannot keep anything that you found. You will only come and leave with the things that you brought onto your body. So all you have to do is hit escape, disconnect, and this does say warning, you tried to leave this raid by disconnecting, either accidentally or on purpose. You will lose all your stuff. You will not lose all your stuff if you're in offline mode. So I'm going to leave here. It says left the action. You also do not gain any XP in offline mode. As you can see, I still have all my stuff. Make sure you utilize offline modes as much as you can before the beta hits, as it might be taken out. It's a great way to really understand the maps and get a hang of the movement and shooting in the game. Hey guys, I just wanted to thank you guys for all the support on the last video, and I appreciate if you watched this video. I just want to let you guys know that if there's anything you guys want me to cover or go over, just let me know in the comments below, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you like the content. Again, thank you, and I appreciate all the support. Take it easy.